Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode here on European Confessions. The following story that you're going to be listening to, it was sent to me by one of our dear sisters. So after she had sent me her message, we then spoke over a WhatsApp call. So these are the messages that came from that conversation that I had with her. The message reads like this: "Hello, my brother, how are you? Can you please post my own story as anonymous? I am a woman who used to survive on doing piece jobs when I was still there in South Africa. But as for now, I am stuck here in Zim and I do not know what to do anymore. I can't even raise the money that is needed for the transport so that I can return back to South Africa. And what pains me the most is that when I look at my family, I am like the breadwinner. I was always the breadwinner in my family. But now I can't even help my mother. Several days we go by without having any proper meal to eat. Sometimes we just go to bed hungry. If there is anyone who is willing to assist me, please do help me so that by the time that I would have returned back to South Africa, if I find a job, if I start working, then I'll be able to pay you back." So my story, I can say that it started when I got married to my first husband. Things were never okay for me because when I got married to my first husband, my in-laws, they never loved me. So at that time, I was still very young, and the reason as to why they treated me so bad, it was because they said that I am too young. My husband, he was working in the city, so each and every time when he would send some money, the money will go straight into my mother-in-law's account. Then she was the one who will do all the groceries for the house and everything. Even if I wanted some sanitary pad or even my underwears, she was the one who would go and buy those underwears for me, because they said that I was too young and I didn't know how to properly use money. So it was only when my husband would have came to the village, that was when I'll be able to get some money straight from my husband. But whenever he was in the city, the money will go straight into my mother-in-law's account, and this caused a lot of stress between me and my husband, and we started fighting a lot because he was on his mother's side. Said that I did not respect him enough, therefore he was going to get a second wife. And I said, okay, let me return back to my people. I thought that he was joking, and indeed he brought another girl from the city and we were staying as his two wives. But this was too much for me. I then returned back to my mom's house in the village where I grew up in, and my mom then gave me an idea, and she said, how about you go and you try to find a job in South Africa so that you will be able to raise your daughter. That is how I ended up being in South Africa. So when I came to South Africa, there were 5 people that I was working for. So amongst these 5 people that I was working for, there was one man who was a professional, but he was from DRC. So I would go to his place, then I would do some laundry. But the money that I was earning from these 5 houses that I would go and do my piece job, the money was enough. I was able to send my daughter to school and to feed my mom and some of her grandchildren, because some of my siblings, they passed away. So I was always the breadwinner. So this guy who was from DRC, one day I went to his house as usual, and he told me that he had his other friend who was also from DRC, who was looking for someone who could do his laundry and clean up the house. So I then went to that house, and I was happy because I knew that now I would be having 6 places where I'll be doing the piece jobs. So this meant a lot of money. I went to that guy's house, and when I arrived, he showed me how he wanted his clothes to be cleaned and to be properly ironed and to be placed back into their respective cupboards. So I then started to do my job. But whilst I was doing my job, that was when this guy proposed love to me. At first I refused, but I don't know what really happened. I ended up making love to this guy who was from DRC. That is how I started dating this guy. So this guy, his own story was that he came to South Africa, and when he came to South Africa, he then got married to this other woman, but it was a marriage of convenience. So this woman, who was a South African, she was now saying that I do not love you anymore. And this guy was afraid that this woman, she was going to take all of his properties. So he kept on telling me that he had this plan that he wanted to run away from South Africa and to go to Germany, and when he will be in Germany, he was going to send some money so that I can join up with him. But this was a secret that he was keeping from his South African wife. So I then said it is fine, since he had told me that his South African wife had been cheating on him. I felt sorry for him because he was really a good guy. So this guy, what he did was that he started giving me money, more than the money that he was supposed to give me. And there was this other time that he gave me a huge sum of money, and he told me that since I had my daughter and I was struggling to pay my daughter's school fees back home in Zim, I should send this money so that it can take care of my bills. And then I sent that money straight to my mom. But my mom, she never used the money. And what hurts me is that by the time that I was told that my daughter was really sick, when I returned back home, the same amount that the guy gave me, that was the money that we used when we were running around, going to different private doctors and buying some medication for my daughter, trying to save my daughter's life. But unfortunately, my daughter passed away. This guy, before he had left going to Germany, he gave me this other ring. So this particular ring that he gave me, he told me that he had once traveled to Nigeria and he had seen the prophet, the late prophet T.B. Joshua, and the late prophet T.B. Joshua had actually prayed for his ring, the ring that he was giving to me. So he said that this ring that I am giving to you, that was prayed for by the prophet, this is my token to you, telling you that I will never forget you. Now that I am leaving South Africa, going to Europe, know that I will always remember you, and I am going to do anything that I can so that your papers can be right. Then you can come and join with me in Germany. You can even bring your daughter. So I was happy, and I was like, God, thank you so much. And even that South African lady who was married to this guy, I was actually telling myself that she does not know what she is about to lose. For this man is such a cool guy, someone who is responsible, someone who knows what he wants in life. Little did I know that this guy, he might be using me for his own rituals. So I accepted that ring that he claimed to have been prayed for by the late prophet T.B. Joshua. It was a silver ring that had a small purple diamond on top of it. I don't know if it is a diamond or an emerald. He gave it to me. He then left South Africa and he went to Germany. So after he had left, and when I was told that my daughter was really sick, I then rushed from South Africa and I came back to Zim. When I came back to Zim, I indeed saw that my daughter, she was really sick. So all along, I was in communication with him. He kept on telling me to pray for my daughter was going to be okay. Everything was going to be fine at the end of the day. Very soon, he said, you are going to be with me here in Germany. So at least I had high hopes. I kept on praying that my daughter was going to be okay. But he then told me that for my daughter to be healed, I was supposed to take this ring that he had given me. Since this ring, it had been blessed and prayed for by the late prophet. So this ring, it contained the blessings. And then I took that ring like he had been instructing me to do. I took that ring and I then gave it to my daughter. But the moment that I gave this ring to my daughter and took it back, that was when my daughter passed away. So at that time, I was under a lot of stress. I never thought about it. But now, when I sit down, when I start to properly analyze everything that happened between me and that guy from DRC, I can see that this guy, he was really using me for his rituals. So as for that ring, after the burial of my daughter, I tried to look for it, for I always kept it in my handbag. But after the burial of my daughter, the ring was nowhere to be found. Even right now, I do not know where to find this ring. I just lost it, yet it was in my handbag. So this is my own story that happened to me. If there is anyone who is willing to assist me so that I can return back to South Africa and continue working like I used to do, Because as for now, at home there is nothing, there is no food, there is nothing. As for that guy, he blocked me when I had lost my daughter. I saw that his number, there was no longer any profile picture. So I thought that maybe it is our network here in Zim. But after I had mourned for my daughter, when I started to think properly, that was when I saw that this guy, he had blocked me. Even up until this day, the guy does not communicate with me. So I do not know if he does not want to speak with me or what happened to him. This is my own story. Dear listeners, right there was a message that I received from our sister. Just imagine being given a ring and you're told that this ring was prayed for by the prophet, so take it. Then when you give that ring to your daughter, then your daughter dies.